Hello, I'm Tamara with Blackletter Foundry, and I'm fantastically excited to be here with you today. Thanks so much to Peggy and the awesome team at the Pigeon Letters for letting me share a little Blackletter fun with you. Since Peggy's such a supporter of animals, and who doesn't love our furry little friends, right? I thought I'd share a fuzzy, scraggly Blackletter interpretation of the word animals. The best part is that you don't need any experience. I've broken down all the steps so that this project's super simple. But first, let's go over everything you'll need for this little workshop, starting with paper. I'll be using Strathmore calligraphy paper. I really like this paper because it's pretty inexpensive. You get about 50 sheets in a pad, and it works really well with every ink that I've thrown at it. And it has a little bit of texture, so you can create some really interesting effects, but more on that another time. We'll be writing with a 4.5mm Pilot parallel pen loaded with a violet ink cartridge and dipping in a small jar with a few drops of Liquitex medium yellow acrylic ink. We'll keep a pencil ruler and a click eraser handy to help us draw a guideline, then erase it when we're done. A number 1 size Pigma Micron pen and a number 5 Jelly Roll pen will also be used to make some finishing touches. You could also use one of the Monoline Studio archival pens from Peggy's Pigeon Letter shop. And last but not least, my ultimate Blackletter guide sheets will help with a lot of the heavy lifting to make the letters. You can grab the complete set of these awesome guides and a bunch of other goodies by joining my newsletter community at blackletterfreebies.com. They cover 6 different pen sizes in a variety of formats that can be printed or used digitally, so they're really flexible. All right, that's everything we're gonna need, so let's start writing. I'm going to start today by showing you the 4 basic lines that you're going to need to create this fun design of the word animals. So I'm going to grab my handy dandy pen here, and I'm going to just start showing you the 4 lines. Again, these are super complicated. Of course, I'm absolutely kidding here, but they basically boil down to the very complex line 1, which is just a vertical line going straight up and down. And then we're going to use line 2, which is a diagonal line. Next, we're going to use line 3, which consists of a skinny line that moves parallel to the edge of the pen. And finally, we're going to use line 4, which is just a horizontal line. So with these 4 lines, we're going to create this fun design of the word animals. And I'm going to be using a light box today. You don't have to have one. I made a version of these guides that is darker so that it's easier to see under a page. But for now, I'm going to be using my light box. I've got my guide sheet sitting here underneath my page of Strathmore calligraphy paper. I've also got my Pilot parallel pen here handy that I'm going to be working with. And it's great when you don't drop the vial, but it's okay if you keep the cap on. I've also got a bottle of the Liquitex ink, just a few drops here in this little jar. And my pencil handy to draw a line. We'll see that in a second. And my ruler. I'm going to start in the center of my page just so that this design is as centered as possible, and we're not going to worry too much about how centered it is here today. Just want you to learn how to do this Blackletter design and also learn how to create these fun lettering techniques as we're working. So I'm going to just add one additional line to my guides. I'll make sure my pages are lined up pretty well. You could also tape down the sheets to make sure that they're aligned on the page. And I'm just going to draw a horizontal line with my pencil. I'm not going to be using my parallel pen. Doesn't matter really where this is. Maybe I'm going to do it just a third of the way down the box here. So I've lined that up. And we're going to create a big one just because I'm not 100% sure where we're going to start yet. So I've drawn my line, and you can see it faintly down here. Okay, just with the pencil. That's all we're going to need to add for now. So I'm just going to pick a spot to draw my design. Maybe we'll start 1, 2, 3, 4 vertical boxes over. I'm going to start very simply with line 1, but I'm also keeping my handy dipping ink here close by because I'm going to start by dipping the pen very quickly. It's not a big long, you don't have to let it linger in there. We're just going to do a quick dip, and that's going to give us all sorts of amazingly fun color gradients. So we're going to start here again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to dip the pen real quick. We'll get some of that yellow inky goodness on the pen. 1, 2, 3, 4. I keep forgetting. And I'm just going to start with a vertical line a little bit above the waistline there. Okay, and I'm going to carry this first line all the way down to that pencil line that we drew And again, there was really no magic to where we drew that pencil line. Next, I'm going to go back for a little bit more of the yellow goodness, and I'm just going to draw a diagonal line. That was line 2. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a vertical line. This one I'm going to take even lower. And I am going to take that all the way to the bottom of my descender box. Again, just for reference, this is the waistline right here. This is the baseline of my letter. This is the top of the ascender box. This is the bottom of my descender box. And these guides really do help with making sure that you can draw the letters consistently. And I've created these columns to help you space out between the letters. In words like this one, it works particularly well. So I've drawn kind of the frame of my A here, and I'm going to skip one of these columns. If I press down on the sheet, you should hopefully be able to see there's these little columns that comprise each one of these boxes that's surrounded by black. So I'm going to skip one column over, and then I'm going to start here at the top, right here by my waistline, and I'm just going to draw a vertical line 1 down to that dashed line. I'm going to go in for another dip just to get some more color. Now I'm going to draw a diagonal line, and I'm looking to aim the bottom corner of my pen with that little intersection here by the baseline. All right, now I'm going to come up to the top here where I'm going to finish my N, and I'm starting with the bottom left corner of my pen, roughly where these dots are. So I also added these dots to give you a handy landmark to shoot for. Okay, and I'm going to go up until I reach that waistline, and then I'm going to come diagonally down until the right corner of my pen touches the right edge of that line. Now let's go back in and get some more color. I'm going to come down vertically through that lane right there, and then just another diagonal line. Look at that. You've got your cool black letter N. Now I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do an I, and it's going to be very similar to what we just did. Starting all the way here at the top of that waistline, drawing my vertical line coming down. Look at those cool color gradients that we get. These are so much fun. Diagonal line number 2. There's the A-N-I. Next is the letter M. Going to do the same thing. Start up here at the top. I bet you can guess where we're going with this one, right? We're going to go straight down again, all the way down to that little dotted line, and then another diagonal line. And see how these guides really just kind of help do a lot of the heavy lifting for you? Now I'm going to start same way with the dot. Draw a diagonal line. That little diagonal line is line 3, if you remember from a few moments ago. And then line 2. Touching the right edge of that little red dotted line in that vertical one. Now I'm going to come back down with line 1. Now another line 2, my little diagonal line. Let's go back in for a little bit more color. I'm going to repeat what I just did. Diagonal line up, diagonal line down, stopping right at that little edge. Straight down. There's the M. Okay, now the next letter is the letter A. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the A. You see where these dots are on these guides? I'm going to start my A, skipping a column. And I'm going to start it right where the bottom left corner of my pen would touch that dot if it was on this little red line. Okay, so just aligned with that. And then I'm going to draw a vertical line down. And then my same diagonal line shooting for that corner. And the great part is by starting where that dot is, now when I start to finish the letter A, I just come up all the way till the right edge of my pen, or the right corner of my pen, touches my waistline up here. And the letter will stay the same height as all the other letters. So that's why the dot's handy. So now I'm going to use line number 2 again, my little diagonal line, till the right corner of my pen touches the edge. Let's go back in for a little bit more color. Vertical line down. All right. And I'm just going to do a little backwards line 3 just to connect here at the bottom. And then diagonal line 2 again. We're pretty close to done. And you've only basically used 2 to 3 lines. This is pretty fun, right? So next step, I'm going to grab a line all the way. It's going to be vertical, but we're just going to start a little higher because this is an L, right? So I'm going to start all the way up here. Draw my vertical line down to that dotted line. See how easy this is? And I'm going to draw a diagonal line again. Look at that. We've drawn the word, or written the word, animal. And all of this fun color gradient is happening too, which is, I find this so exciting. I love these. I'm definitely a color geek for sure. All right, and now we're gonna do the S. So I'm gonna start here at the top, and I'm gonna draw a vertical line. And this one's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna start right around midway here. And this is my one break from the 4-line rule, but this is just to make this S super easy without having to draw a bunch of other fancy lines. I'm just gonna draw right from about here in the middle, and I'm turning my pen so that I'm just using the corner, and I'm just gonna draw a straightish line that goes right over to here. Super easy, just basically through one column and about midway through the next one. And now I'm gonna take the bottom, or I'm going to take the center of my pen, line it up where roughly the middle, or roughly where that line ended. And I'm going to take this line 1 down. And you may think I'm going to stop here at the baseline, but in this case, I drew this long horizontal line to give us a couple of little spots to shoot for. So in this case, I'm going to take my line and come all the way down to that little pencil line that we drew before. So now it goes under the baseline. Now let's just finish off the top of the S. I'm going to use my same kind of dot placement. Come up here diagonally with line 3. Come back down here with line 2. Now, we haven't used line 4. If you remember, we had a horizontal line at the beginning, but I saved all those lines for the end just so that we could do them all consistently. All right, so to add that fun little bottom flourish to the A, I'm going to go in for a little bit of color, right? Just a quick stab of color there. And you could start way over here. You could start wherever you want. Depends on how snazzy flourishy you want. But I'm going to line up the top part of my pen. Did you see how the top part of my pen lined up with where I drew that horizontal line? Okay, so I'm going to line up the top part of my pen with that line and then just follow that line across. And now I'm going to keep it. You could start wherever you want technically, but let's say I want to do it all the way across. So I'm going to start again. In this case, I'm using the same column, right? So that it lines up with the N. And I'm going to start at the top of my pen, meeting that little pencil line. And maybe we'll go in for a little bit more color because you can never have enough color when you're color blending. Am I right? It's too much fun. So let's grab a little bit of that. Oh yeah. And then I'm just going to follow my straight horizontal line. And in theory, you could do this with one long stroke with a long arm movement. I'm just going slow so that you can kind of see the steps and you can follow the line all the way across. Okay, and how is that looking? Isn't that pretty cool? All we did was draw one pencil line and use the guides. Super, super easy. The last thing that I'm going to do, obviously the I needs a dot and the A needs a little crossbar, right? We're used to seeing that. So you could again take this crossbar and make it as fancy and long as you want. We're just going to keep it simple today, but you can absolutely vary these designs and create all sorts of cool looks. So now I'm going to take just a horizontal line here through the A, roughly through the middle. Maybe, I could stop there and call that done, or you can even keep going all the way through and give it a little bit that crosses all the way through to the end. And now for the eye, I'm just going to, you could maybe do a horizontal line if you wanted for the eye, but I'm just going to do a little diamond, and I'm going to start where the top quarter of my pen is midway through this vertical lane. I'm just going to push with the edge of my pen so that you can see it a little more clearly. So it's going midway through this vertical lane here, okay? The top corner of my pen. And then if I just do a little diamond and stop when the bottom corner of my pen reaches the middle, all right, center of that lane, then with one teeny little stroke, we've added the dot of our eye, and it's a nice little diamond there. And there you go. You've really got the structure of what we were looking at right here. I bet you thought that would be way harder, right? So that didn't take long at all, right? So now I'm going to pull off the light box because we don't need it anymore, and we're just going to start playing with this design that we've created. Okay, we no longer need our ink, so I'm just going to cap that jar like so. Don't need that. I'm going to pull the light box away. I just turned it off. And now with the light box off, you can probably see all of the really cool color blends that we created here, right? The first thing I'm going to do is grab my handy eraser, and I'm just going to erase this line that we drew in pencil. We don't really need it anymore, right? And normally I would give it some time to dry. It looks like it's pretty dry. The inks don't stay wet too long on this calligraphy paper. I can actually get rid of my guides too. Don't need those anymore. Okay, just gonna go lightly in between there. And this is why I like these erasers, because they're pretty soft and they help me get into these tight little areas sometimes where I want to erase. Swipe the eraser shreds away. Maybe blow some of them off, shake the page. And now we are ready to add some more fun elements to this design. So I'm gonna grab my Pigma Micron pen. I'm using the size 1 version of the pen. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna work our way around this design. And the nice part of this is if you're concerned that you don't have the steadiest hands, don't worry about it. This is great. If you're going for this kind of animal design, you want it to be a little scratchy. So don't worry, move the pen around a little bit, and every once in a while just pull out a little hair at the edge like that. Okay, and I can go back around on this side and maybe I pull a little hair out like that. This is a scruffy little animal lettering, right? And here we go. And I'm just being really not careful here. I'm just drawing lines and occasionally pulling away, maybe with a little fiber or something like that, just to give my furry lettering friend here a little bit of an interesting design. Oh, so there's a big one there. Okay, and I'll draw a little line up here. And it'll come like this. And I'm just going to keep doing this all the way around my lettering. You may want to use an undersheet as you're working. Oh, there we go. Look at that hair got straight away. This is a furry little guy, isn't he? And we'll keep working our way around. And I may speed this up just because you're probably getting the idea at this point. Okay, and every once in a while you can even go back in if you want. Add some little bits of fur in here for my animal black lettering. Look at that. Just be what I like to do sometimes is just draw like a little straight line and then maybe come up a little thick patch there, and then another little hair there, a little thick patch, and come back. Just keep working our way all the way around this little design. And when we reach a corner, that kind of gives us a spot to maybe add a little tuft here or there. Okay, but the great part of this is you really don't have to worry about being too precious with very clean and straight lines. And maybe I'll speed up through this section so you don't have to spend 7 hours here watching me create these little furry effects. But I totally encourage you to take your time and just have fun as you're adding these designs to the work. We can still come in here and add all sorts of other fun effects. If you'd like, you can come in and add some additional little fur elements throughout the piece. Just add these little tufts of here and there. However you want to construct your little warm fuzzy design. Just come in here and there and add these little tufts of fur here and there, just like that. You can go anywhere you want. Just like so. Looks like I forgot the S. Let's give the S a little tuft here or there. Just a little bit of scraggly little fur there. Maybe a little bit more on the A just to balance it out as well. Just like so. Alright, and now we can even come in and with our cool jelly roller pen, add some little highlights just to give it a little bit more of a lit up effect. And all I'm going to do here is pick a direction for the light. In this case, I'm going to select my light source as coming in from the top right. So it would reflect or add some light to the top right edges of these letters. So we can start anywhere you want. I'm just going to slowly come in here and add with my jelly roller pen Just little, and they don't need to be straight or perfect, right? This is, if we're pretending this is lighting up some fur, then these lines are going to be a little scraggly as well, right? Scraggly is a technical term, I believe. Oh, goodness. And I'm just pressing very lightly with my pen here. There we go, light up that. So just remember, top, right, or right-hand edges. You can add some little highlights and bits of light to add a fun kind of a glistening effect, maybe. Maybe this Blackletter word animal just came out of the water, and that's why the hair is so fuzzy and scraggly. You can make up whatever fun story that you want for these. Just like that, some scraggliness there. Maybe we'll add a little bit more here to the top edges of the A. Maybe down here. Don't be afraid to have some fun with this, right? Sometimes I'll just add little dots too. This is a pretty long edge. Because, you know, the line would get broken up here and there too. Maybe there's still some highlights. But it doesn't make it all the way across this entire horizontal line. Alright, so maybe in the corner just like that. You could add a little bit more down here too, just to indicate there's a little highlight here at the bottom. Just like so. I would just recommend, if you like to do that, maybe just do it consistently all the way across. Just like that. Maybe the bottom of the A gets a little additional light on both legs. There we go. And just like that, you have created this fun and exciting design using some very simple Blackletter techniques and some interesting design ideas as well. Congratulations! Check out the cool design that we made together. I'll bet you didn't realize how fun and easy a traditional style like Blackletter can be. If you'd like to learn some more Blackletter shenanigans with me, visit my YouTube channel at Blackletter TV and join my newsletter community at blackletterfreebies.com for a ton of free resources and tools, in addition to all the valuable info that I share regularly through the newsletter. Thank you so much again for blacklettering with me today. Thank you so much, Peggy and the Pigeon Letters team, for having me. I hope you have a fantastic day, and see you next time.